welcome to our science class. I hope that you are good and happy. Okay, this is lesson 2 of unit number 4. Okay, and we will be talking about the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse. I know some of you are familiar what is lunar eclipse and solar eclipse. So we will be talking about this one. And what is the reason why? Why is it that there's an eclipse? Okay? Okay, it's review time. Let's review our lesson 1 topic. So last week we talked about the shadows and the umbra and the penumbra. So again, shadows have two distinct parts. We have the umbra and we have the penumbra. So when we say umbra, so it is the shadow, the center. So when we say penumbra, it's the lighter part of the shadow. So now, if you look at this picture, okay, so this is the sun, this is the moon, and this is the earth. The moon orbits the earth. Again, the moon tends to orbit the earth for a month. Okay, and this earth will also orbit the sun for 1 year. So, if the moon moves above or below the earth's shadow, we will see the moon directly from the earth. So that is the reason why we can see the moon. Okay, what will happen if the earth orbits the sun and comes between the sun and the moon on the same plane? So what will happen if the sun, the moon, and the earth will form a plane line? So what will happen? So let's discover what will happen. So, again, we have solar eclipse and we have lunar eclipse. So again, this is the sun, this is the moon, this is the earth. Okay? This is the sun, this is the earth, and this is the moon. So since the moon is orbiting the earth, so this is the orbit. So it's orbit the earth. So there are times that we will experience solar eclipse and we also experience the lunar eclipse. So let's define first what is solar eclipse. So when we say solar eclipse, it's during the new moon phase, Earth, the moon, and the sun are lined up and the moon casts a shadow on Earth's surface. So when the moon shadow appears on Earth's surface, a solar eclipse is occurring. Again, so during this phase, the sun, the earth, and the moon lined up. Okay? And so when the sun shines, and this moon will block the light of the sun. So this moon will make a shadow on Earth's surface. So that's why we experiencing the solar eclipse. Again, the moon blocks the sunlight. Therefore, it casts a shadow on Earth. It means that the sun gets dark during the day. Again, it's during the day. That's why we experience solar eclipse. Like, it's still day, but the world is, there's a shadow. So that is the reason why, because the moon blocks the light coming from the sun, so it forms a shadow. So again, so when you still remember the umbra and the penumbra shadow, so in the center it forms the penumbra. So and the other part is called penumbra, the lighter part of the shadow. So next is During a total solar eclipse, the moon appears to cover the sun completely. Again, it covers the sun completely. You can only see a total solar eclipse from within the moon's umbra. Again, from the moon's umbra. So meaning to say, if this is the moon, this moon blocks, okay, the sun. So it means, so when we, this is the shadow, so, and this is the center of the umbra. So means that this part of the earth experiencing the total solar eclipse. Again, and this part was experiencing the, what's this, the penumbra. So the experiencing um the partially solar eclipse. Do you understand? Again, if this is the moon, and the moon will block the light from the sun, and it formed the shadow in the center, meaning this is really really dark. So that means you can experience the total solar eclipse. Okay? Okay, let's see the next slide. Okay, so there are three types of solar eclipse. Again, there are three types of solar eclipse. We have total solar eclipse, we have annular solar eclipse, we have partial solar eclipse. So this is the one that I'm telling you a while ago, the total solar eclipse. Okay, it occurs when the moon completely covers the surface of the sun, and it's very rare. Okay, again, that is total solar eclipse. And the second one is the annular solar eclipse. So when we say annular, so this is the dark part and this is still light, okay? So an eclipse in which a thin layer of a ring of the sun disk is not covered by a smaller dark disk of the moon. So for example, this is the moon. They cover the sun, so but there is still a ring, so that is annular solar eclipse. And then this is the last types of a solar eclipse. When we say partial solar eclipse, it means to say that an eclipse the sun in which the moon does not completely hide the solar surface. So there is still some part, okay? Partial. So not all the parts of the sun was blocked by the moon. So that is partial solar eclipse. Now let's go to the lunar eclipse. So when we say lunar eclipse, so it's a phenomenon in which the earth comes before the moon and the sun is in a straight line. So again, if this is the sun, so again the moon orbits on the earth, right? So the moment that the earth will block the sunlight from reaching the moon, so that's why it's called lunar eclipse. Okay, again, this time when we say solar eclipse, meaning the moon blocks the sun, but when we say lunar eclipse, the earth blocks the sunlight from reaching the moon. Again, because the moon is orbiting the earth. So again, there are three types of lunar eclipse. So again, we have total lunar eclipse, we have partial eclipse, lunar eclipse, and we have penumbral lunar eclipse. So we will define them one by one. So when we say total lunar eclipse, if the earth shadow completely covers the moon, it is called total lunar eclipse, same as the solar eclipse. So if this is the moon, so it covers the whole part of the moon, so that is what we called total lunar eclipse. Okay, but on the other hand, if the Earth's shadow partially covers the moon, it is called partial lunar eclipse. Again, partial lunar eclipse. So if this is the moon, I mean this is the moon, this is the earth. Okay, still the moon, it's in the partially it's in the shadow of the umbra again, because this is the umbra shadow, right? So still the moon, which some have in umbra, so that is partially lunar eclipse, meaning not all the part of the moon was covered by the shadow. And lastly, we have penumbra lunar eclipse. Okay, when we say penumbra, meaning the moon becomes completely immersed in the penumbral cone of the earth without touching the umbra. So that is why it's called penumbra lunar eclipse, because the um, the moon did not touch the umbra shadow. It's only in the penumbra. That is why it's called penumbral lunar eclipse. Okay, understand? Okay. So, thank you for listening and have a good day, everyone. Thank you.
And I'll go